name is Maurice. I'm 28 years old and I'm from West Philadelphia. Down the bottom to be exact, so shout out to down the bottom. But no, the purpose of this video is to just share my experience, share the things that I've went through and that led me to being in the most miserable spot in my life. Let me just first by saying, like, I didn't know that I had a disease. You know what I mean? I didn't know that I suffered with alcoholism and addiction. And when I was younger, it manifested, my alcoholism manifested in ways that I just did not notice. I can remember back being like 10 years old and going to my mom's liquor cabinet and just downing a whole bottle of Pinnacle. And I'm supposed to be hiding it from my mom, but it's at the point where I've drunk so much that she knows I'm drunk. So now I got to face with that. But I just didn't know that I dealt with that. When I turned 14, I got hit by a bus, the 40 bus on 48th and Brown. And when I got hit by the bus, I got case money, and I got that case money when I was 18 years old. So when I turned 18, I got my case money. I moved out of my grandma's house, and I got me a one-bedroom, like just a room. And I'm staying there, and things are good. I'm working at Wawa, everything's okay. I had a roommate there who, was just telling me about psychedelic drugs, telling me about, different strands of weed, and that intrigued me. Like, I was like, I want to see what this is about. So I started smoking weed real heavy, dealing with psychedelic drugs, and acid is so intense, and the trip that I got from it was so bad. But like I said, I didn't know that I suffered with a disease, so I did more of it. Despite the fact that I had a bad experience with it, I still did more. When I realized, psychedelics wasn't for me, I said, damn, like I need something else. So I turned to Xanax. And when I turned to Xanax, despite the consequences, I continued to do it for almost a year. I would get locked up. I would, crash my car. Like, all these things started happening, and I said, damn, I need to find something better. So I did perks. Lord, if I would have known me doing my first Percocet would have took me that far, man, I would have never done it. But that's besides the point. I did Percocets, and I didn't know that you can get physically dependent on it. I didn't know, that it builds a tolerance in your body. Like, I just didn't know them things. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't even know that I was an addict, and that my mind works differently when I put any substance in my body. Like, I didn't know it. So I continued to do Percocets, and then I ended up getting fired from Wawa. So I said, damn, like, what am I going to do now? I got this habit, like, I gotta do something. So I reached out to a family friend, and they got me into a Jefferson Hospital. So I'm working at Jefferson Hospital. I was there for up to 6 years, and it was good. Like, it maintained me for a long time. But like I said, I still got this thing on my back called Percocets, and I'm taking Percocets every single day. And I'm buying more and more and more. It went from 5 milligrams to 30 milligrams. So I'm taking 30 milligrams every single day. And it got to a point where I stopped paying my rent, I stopped paying my electric, and all my money went to Percocets. That was my everything, just getting high on Percocets. So I said, I need another job. So I, applied for the Children's Hospital. When I applied to CHOP, they hired me, and now I got 2 good hospital jobs. And the only thought in my mind is like, now I can get even higher. It went from taking about 10 Percocets, maybe like a good 3-4 days with Jefferson doing like at least like almost 20 Percocets a week, if not more. But again, it got so compulsive that I couldn't even manage that. With 2 hospital jobs, I couldn't manage to maintain my habit. So I started to get all my Percocets that I want. I would get everything on credit. I set that up with my dealer. Listen, give me all the Percocets that I want, and when I get my check, you got it. So that's what he did. I would run my tab up to get about $1,700 a week, and I would just give it all to my dealer. I go home one day, and I walk in my apartment, and my lights are off. And I'm just like, wow, damn. But in my mind, I can't stop. I don't want to stop. So I'm just like, okay. I continue to do more and more Percocets. It's the middle of November. I'm cold in my apartment with the lights out, and I just accepted things will get better. It will get better. Eventually, my brother, he found out about, me and my habit and my lights being turned out. So he told my family, so they shipped me off to Florida. I stayed in Florida. I went to rehab down there, and things were really good for me. I ended up staying in Florida for almost a year. And as I was in Florida, like, I didn't know that you needed to do work. I wasn't on vacation, but I treated it as a vacation. So I could just continue to do whatever I wanted to do. Eventually I found Percocets down in Florida. I started drinking down in Florida, so I just did all my habits just, move from one place to another. Just because you change locations don't mean, that's recovery. It don't mean that you're gonna be better, because you take you wherever you go. While I'm in one of them rehabs in Florida, I meet this girl. Her name is Mel, and we hit it off. And she was real like forthcoming. Like, she wouldn't leave me alone in the rehab, and I'm just like damn. But my addict mind, it's like, I need to go get high. So I end up leaving the rehab, flying back home to Philly, and I get this number on my phone, and it's Mel. She's like, listen, I just wanted to let you know that I love you and that I'm flying back home too because I want to be with you. I'm just like, thinking she's lying. But no, she actually flew all the way back home just to be with me. So we link up, and, once we linked up, it was like my best friend. Like, I fell in love with her. For the next 3 months, she ended up getting pregnant. And when she got pregnant, I'm just like, that's good. Like, I'm happy. I'm about to have a son. My life is about to change. I'm thinking, like, I'm going to change for my son. Like, if nothing can get me better, he's going to make me better. And Mel, she's an addict as well, so that hasn't worked on us. So eventually she started doing the same thing she was doing while she was pregnant. And we tried so many times to stop. We tried so many times to try to detox ourselves, but we just could not do it. And we didn't want to reach out for help because we were too ashamed of it, because we knew what we were doing and we didn't know who to run to. So when it was time to have the baby, she had the baby, and for some odd reason, he only had cocaine in the system. Shouldn't have nothing, but that's the only drug he had in the system. Mind, we was doing dope, crack, powder, and meth. So for him to only have cocaine, I don't know how, but CPS get involved, and they ended up taking our son. When they took our son, it crushed us, because like I said, we just did not know what to do. We tried rehab so many times. We tried to do it on our own so many times, and it just didn't work. We would always go back to what we know was familiar to us. We go down to Kensington one day, and I'm not sure what day exactly it was, but we left, and we went there and we never left. And we tried to understand what we were doing, because we just did not know. We didn't know why we were doing the things we were doing. We didn't understand that we had an addiction that is a compulsive of the mind to want anything that's a substance. So any substance that I put in my body, I'm going to compulse over it, and I'm always going to want more. But we didn't know that, so we just didn't understand it. We ended up staying there for 3 years in Kensington, and every single day we would want to leave. We wanted to leave. We wanted to get help so bad. We did not want it to be that way. But we didn't know how to make it not be any other way. But we wanted to leave. We hate living like that. We hated not eating. We hated not showering. We hated not sleeping. We hated them things so much. Every single day I would go out and boost to support our habit. And for a while it was good. And then I got locked up. And I continued to get locked up every single time. And that's the cycle of this addiction, it's jails, institutions, and death. I've been to rehab, institution, I've been to jails, and I've OD'd numerous of times. So that's the cycle that it goes in. I would get out of jail and go back to, like I said, what's familiar to me. And I would do the same things, expecting that things will get different, but I'm not doing anything different. And being in Kensington, I've adjusted to it. I became accustomed to the ways that Kensington works. Like, it's literally like a free fall. You do your drugs out in the open. You do, whatever out in the open. Who cares? And I started, like I said, smoking crack. I started doing dope. I started using the needle. All my nevers became a reality, and I didn't know how to stop it. The love for my family didn't stop me. The love for my son didn't stop me. The love for myself didn't stop me. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror when I was down there because I hated the person that I seen. Not just in the physical, but just mentally too, and who I was. Because I'm like, thinking to myself, my mind is telling me, like, you're a piece of shit. You're always going to be an addict. You're never going to amount to nothing. You let your son go due to these drugs. Like, you're just a low life. And I believed it. I believed my mind when it told me that I could not leave Kensington. So mentally, I felt trapped. Like, we stayed down there because we felt trapped. When we would leave, it would seem like a part of us was missing. So this last time around, like I said, I got plenty of videos online from, people interviewing, us in Kensington. And a lot of my videos, I'm saying, like, I know that this is just a chapter in my life.
Keep that faith there, like,
because it is.
This is just a chapter in my life.
I remember, like, when I was a kid, the things that, that God says about me. Like, I still believe them in a way. So I kept my faith that one day, I didn't know how and I didn't know when, but God was going to get me out of this. Like, I had to have some type of faith in something greater than myself, because myself could not do it. Like, by myself and with my own strength, I just could not do it. So this last time around, like, I had to find something different. I had to do something different. I had to put my faith not into me, but into God. And I get locked up, and I ended up doing 3 months. And when I did my 3 months, like, God will never make you feel comfortable in a place it's not meant for you. So I went down, and I started just feeling the things like guilt, hurt, shame. And Mel was clean at the time, and I called Mel, and she's just like, listen, like, you need to get yourself right, get yourself together. And I'm like, no, you're right. So, I put my trust into Kensington. There was a well-known block down there that I stayed on, and my last moments there, it seemed like everybody turned against me. Like, people were running after me, trying to do harm to me, to the point where, nobody could catch me at all. Nobody couldn't catch me. But I'm like, man, this is not it. Like, I know my worth. Like, I know what God says about me, and I know this is not it. So I just went home. I went home to my grandma's house, and she opened her doors wide open to me. And, I haven't been back down since. So as I'm sitting home, because, once addiction is like, once the physical is done, the mental comes. You put the drug down, now you got to fill that void with something. So that void really is like just your thoughts telling you, just, yo, one more, go get high one more time, go get high one more time. So I knew that I had to do something differently if I wanted different results. So I prayed. Like, I just prayed, like, God, like, I don't want to be this way. Like, I need to do something different. And, with the support of my family, the support of my friends, they circled around me. And they filled that void with love, to the point where I didn't feel like I needed to go outside of myself to receive it somewhere else, because I've been doing that so long for drugs. Like, my mind from being down in Kensington was so gone. Like, I lost myself completely. Like, I didn't know who I was anymore when I was down there. Like, it was normal for me to light a piece of cardboard on fire and that be my warmth. It was normal for me to stick a needle in my neck. It was normal for me to go rob somebody. Like, them things became normal. It was normal for me to step over a dead body and not feel no emotion. Like, drugs have put me into such an animalistic way that I just did not know who I was no more, because I knew that wasn't me. So now that I'm back home, I know it, and I'm accepting of the disease that I have and the things that I can and I cannot do. Like, I know that there's certain things that I have to do every single day to counteract my mind to not want to sabotage myself. You know, 'cause that's what my body wants to do. It wants to go back to what it know, but because my mind is associating drugs with pleasure, not knowing that it's causing me hell in the physical. So today, you know, I got a sponsor. You know, I got sponsored brothers. I go to meetings, and I'm actually like reading, like, you know, in the NA, Narcotics Anonymous. Like I'm getting into all of that stuff because I gotta change what's inside of me. I gotta change like the pain and the trauma and the things that keep bringing me out to go get high. That's what I gotta change. Not even change. That's what I gotta release. I gotta get rid of it. I gotta stop letting it be a burden on me, because that's the thing that want to take me out. I thought, you know, recovery was about the outer appearance and just making sure you look good and, you know, eating better. But it really is about getting to know who you are and who you truly are, and not being defined by your pain and your trauma and the things that, you know, like anger, resentments, and, you know, holding on to all that stuff is what causes so many addicts to go back. Because at the end of the day, we just want to numb that. We want to numb it all. We want to numb the pain. We want to numb the trauma. We don't want to think about it. So we go out into the world looking for something to numb it, and we do drugs. And once that drug becomes a relief, it becomes just a temporary relief that we keep seeking out each and every single time. But with God, for me, it's like, that's not a temporary relief. It's a permanent relief. That God is for sure going to put peace upon me. God is for sure going to put gratitude upon me. God is for sure is going to give me an understanding so I can have a better perspective of life. So my whole experience down in Kensington, I will always say, like, God, where are you? Like, I need your help. Like, I don't want to be this way, but I don't know how to stop myself from not being this way. And I'm grateful now that I'm able to look back and say that God never left me when I was down there. Because there was too many times where I've OD'd, where I seized out, where I fell into the L tracks, and I survived. You know, so my addiction has taken so much from me that I decided now, like, I'm going to take from it. Like, I'm going to take my experience and what I went through, and I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make it better to help somebody else. Because there's so many people out there going with addiction and just don't know what to do. But they gotta know, like, you suffer with a disease that you do not understand. Like, you don't understand it. So try to find the strength to reach out to somebody. Because one addict talking to the other, I get it. I get all the people that's down there in Kensington that's suffering right now, that don't want to be there but don't know how to leave. I get it. And I know why. I can understand. Because I'm them, and they me. And they think that they can't get out. But I'm living proof that you can, and you can stay out. You can stay out. But it's going to take work. You know, it don't just come. Change is hard at the end of the day. But the gifts you get from it, it's indescribable. So, you know, I'm just grateful for where I am today. I'm grateful that God gave me an understanding and gave me time to reflect on where I was at. I'm grateful that God gave me the grace to want to change. I'm grateful that God gave me just an acceptance and forgiveness for myself and all the things that I put myself through. You know, because it was me who decided to do the things that I did. But God is the one who gonna make it all better for my good. So listen, like, y'all don't want to go down that road. It's a bad, miserable, depressing road that we don't gotta carry no more. Like, we don't gotta carry them burdens on our chest. We don't gotta carry our past on our back. We don't have to do that anymore. We can live free. We can live happy. Like, I didn't know what happy meant when I was down there. I didn't know what joy meant. I didn't know what none of that stuff meant, because drugs had took me to such a level that I just didn't know right from wrong anymore. So I just did whatever. Like, today I can look clearly, and I can look in the mirror and I can say, like, damn, like, I look good today. I mean, I couldn't do that back then. I couldn't wash up. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I couldn't have a peace of mind. Like, I couldn't do that. then. But life is gonna be life, so you always gonna have your storms, you always gonna have the ups and downs, whether it's addiction or not. It's all about how you deal with it though. I mean, like so many people carry the things that they've been through, carry their emotions on them, and it shows outwardly. But I understand now that I don't have to do that, and I don't have to be a slave to drugs. I don't have to be a slave to, my negative thoughts. I don't have to be a slave to, my negative emotions. Like, I don't have to be a slave to that, to none of that at all. Addiction and what I went through is just a chapter in my life. All bringing me back to sit in this chair to tell the next person, like, well, how did you do it? And it's God. And this, because I couldn't do it on my own. So I knew it was a greater power than me that gave me a thought change, that changed my mind to want to do better and to want to seek better. So every single day, I write my gratitude list, things that I'm grateful for. Like I listen to my gospel music. I don't want to be far from God no more, yo. I don't want to leave that God presence. Because, like, I bring myself back down to the most lowest part of myself. But when I'm in the presence of God, I'm up here. So I don't want to leave that presence today. But, that's, mainly my story. I'm going to be posting more videos and stuff to help families out there. Like, I'm going to be interviewing my brothers and my sisters and my mom to get their perspective on what they seen, when I was out there, how they felt. So they can teach and tell other people that's dealing with the same thing how to deal with a loved one that's an addict. Because don't nobody know what to do. We don't even know what to do. So, just continue to look for more videos, and I appreciate everybody's support. I love y'all, you hear me?